Today, Cory Althoff will be our guest speaker. Cory is a developer advocate here at Vonage, and he is the author of The Self-Taught Programmer and The Self-Taught Computer Scientist.
Hey, everyone, and thank you.
Hi, Cory.
Great introduction, Caroline, and all the amazing questions. I think cheesecake definitely won, but yes. Thank you all so much for being here.
Awesome. That is really exciting. So, Cory, I'm going to give it over to you, and I'm going to leave you to do it.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. Again, thank you, everyone. Let me just share my screen. Okay. Hopefully you guys can now see my screen. Okay, cool. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Welcome to Vonage Unlocked. As Caroline mentioned, this is a series that we're doing here at Vonage with a bunch of different free presentations going over how to build interesting, cool things. My workshop is called How to Build a Live Streaming App with Python. So again, thank you all so much for coming. I'm really excited to do this workshop with all of you. As Caroline mentioned, I'm the author of The Self-Taught Programmer and The Self-Taught Computer Scientist. I have a Facebook group called Self-Taught Programmers that some of you might be familiar with. If you aren't, you should check it out. It's pretty cool. It's a place for self-taught coders to get together and interact. I am a developer advocate at Vonage, and it's been an amazing experience so far. And it's great because I get to build community among developers and spread awareness about our communication APIs. And one of them is our video API, and you're going to be learning more about that shortly. So here's what we are going to build using Python. We are going to build a live streaming app that looks like this. So essentially, there's going to be two views, an admin view and a viewer view. So on the left is the admin view, and then you can broadcast from that view. And then in the other view, you basically consume the video. And in both views, you can chat and communicate with each other using live chat. And so that is what we're going to be building. Some use cases for this: you could create a custom teaching solution for a classroom. So there's a ton of different things that you can do using the video API. In this situation, in this app, we're going to be doing a video overlay. So as you can see here, it says Cory, so that's a video overlay. You can add images on top of the API, the actual video part. You can really customize it. So you could make a really cool custom teaching solution, like pulling up graphs if you wanted to, and all kinds of stuff. You could make a custom experience for customer service. There's just a million different things that you could do. One thing you wouldn't want to do is try to clone Twitch or anything that requires a ton of viewers. So this isn't a good solution for streaming to like 10,000 people or something like that. But there's a ton that you can do with this. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that you need to do is create a Scaledrone account. We're doing a little bit of initial setup here, so it'll only take about 5 minutes, hopefully. So you want to go to dashboard.scaledrone.com/signup. It looks like this. It's free. It takes like 10 seconds to sign up. You just enter your email and your password. So I will give you all just a few seconds to go ahead and get that done. Again, that's dashboard.scaledrone.com/signup. And once you sign up, you should see a screen that looks like this. And the thing in red is what we're going to be needing at some point. So just keep that saved in your browser. Give you guys a few more seconds to sign up. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to do is create a TalkBox account. So I'll give everyone like 10 more seconds to finish up the last part. Okay, so now head to talkbox.com/account/user/signup. Vonage bought TalkBox, so this is the home of the Vonage video API. We're in the process of combining everything so that the TalkBox name is no longer going to be there, but for now, it's TalkBox. And if you head to that URL and use the coupon code 21UNLX7359, then you can get free minutes. So you're going to want to use that coupon code when you sign up. So you're going to see a page that looks like this. It's going to say sign up for a video API free trial. And again, that's talkbox.com/account/user/signup. You're going to see a page that looks like this. You're going to type in your coupon code at the bottom, hit apply, and you do your first name, last name, email. And again, it's free, and it should not take very long to sign up. This is the last thing that you have to sign up for, I promise. Give all of you a few more seconds to get that done. And once you're there, you're going to want to click projects and then create new project. So again, top left, once you've signed up for your TalkBox account, hit projects, and then hit create new project. You will then see a screen that looks like this, and type in my project, hit create. You will see a screen like this that says your project was created. Hit view project. And just keep this tab open as well, because we're going to need that project API key and that project secret. Let me just go through that one more time to make sure no one's lost. So create a Scaledrone account. Just sign up there. You should have an API key. Create a TalkBox account. Go to talkbox.com/account/user/signup. Enter your coupon code. You should see this. Enter your code and your information. Create a TalkBox project. Hit project. Create new project. Give your project a name. Hit create. Hit view project. And keep this saved so you have this information later. Okay, so I guess some people are having some issues with the coupon code. If it's not working, try just doing it with no coupon code, and I think it should work. I think you get. I think it should work. So you can try that. Otherwise, hopefully Caroline and Tanya can help with that. Okay, so I will give everyone a few more seconds to just get that coupon code situation resolved. Okay, so it looks like the coupon code is not working. This should work without the coupon code. So just go ahead and create an account without the coupon code, and you should be good. Now, I think you get some amount of free credits without a coupon code. So hopefully that will be enough to just demo the app and have it work. So should be fine without the coupon code. So just make sure to sign up. And I will give everyone like 30 more seconds just to make sure that they are all signed up and everything is good to go. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the talk box because looks like a few people are having issues. So no worries, no worries. We will get this all situated. Okay, so you're gonna want to go to talkbox.com/account/user/signup, and you can forget the coupon code if we are having problems with that. You are gonna see this page. Enter your first name, your last name, your email, your company name. If you don't have a company, you can just make one up, enter a password, and then hit I agree to terms of service, and then hit redeem your $10 credit. And then at the top left, it says projects. Hit create new project, enter a project name. You should see this screen. And then this screen, which has the API key and the API secret. Honestly, if this isn't working for you, you can just use my API key and my secret. So it's actually not a huge deal if you're unable to get these keys to work. You can use my API key and my secret. I will let you. So don't worry about that. You can use mine. So let's go ahead and move on and take a look at our app, and you will be able to follow along even if these steps did not work for you because you can just use my API key and secret. So thank you for bearing through that setup. And now I'm going to start coding. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is go to github.com/caltoff/Vonage unlocked. And we're going to go ahead and click right here where it says code. So that's github.com/caltoff/Vonage unlocked. And then highlight this code right here. Actually, it's better to just hit copied. Then you're going to want to navigate to your terminal. So I've got my terminal. Hopefully you can see that, and that's big enough. If it's not, Caroline, please send me a message. And right now I am in my desktop directory, and I'm going to git clone that URL. As you can see, that created my Vonage unlocked directory. I'm going to cd into Vonage unlocked. And if you want to follow along with the workshop, you're going to want to do all these steps that I am doing as well. So next, cat readme.md so that I can read the README doc and follow the instructions. So I'm going to pip3 install virtual env. I already have this installed, but if you don't have it installed, it is a Python module for creating a virtual environment. If you are not familiar with virtual environments, essentially you don't want to install all of the modules for all of your different projects into your interpreter. Instead, you want to create a virtual environment to install all of the modules from your Python project into so that you avoid collisions. So basically, every project has its own virtual environment in an ideal world, and all of the requirements are saved to each individual project's virtual environment. So we're going to do pip3 install virtual env. And for me, it says it's already satisfied. If you do not have it, it will install that. Then we're going to create a virtual environment. So that command, virtual env venv, created this folder called venv. I don't know if that's how you're supposed to say it. I never really say that out loud. Sounds weird. Anyways, that is your virtual environment that you just created. And then what you're going to do is activate it. So source venv/bin/activate. Hopefully that will come up for you right there where it says venv in parentheses. That means your virtual environment has been activated. Okay, now we're going to do the command pip3 install-r requirements.txt. And that is going to install all the modules that this project needs to work. And as you can see, it just installed them all. And if I do pip3 freeze, then this shows me what Python modules are installed in my virtual environment. And so these are the dependencies that our project has. I'll bring up the instructions again. Okay, now we have to do one more thing. We are going to say vim.env. And if you've never used Vim before, you hit I so that you can type. And open up your Vonage unlocked directory and click on app.py. Now copy this, paste it. Okay, so everyone can just use their own API key if that worked. So if that worked, then use your own API key. If it did not work, then you can use my API key. And I will delete the project later. So you guys can't charge me. Okay, so what was that? That was the API key. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this. So if this worked for you, then you should have this screen and you can grab that and paste it there, and then grab your secret. And that's probably too long for everyone to try to use. So I'm going to go in here and it's going crazy, but you can use that. And I'll send this too. Okay, so I will slow down for a sec to let everybody catch up. And I can review the steps just to make sure that everyone's here. So let us recap. Okay, so press escape, colon X to save this file. But I'm going to do a quick recap. So all the directions also are in this README file. So if you do cat readme.md, then you have all the instructions in case you're behind. So to recap, you did git clone, and you went to github.com/calthoff/Vonage unlocked. You hit code, copied this, and then pasted that. That created this Vonage unlocked directory. which has all the files that you will need for your project. And then you did pip3 install virtual env, and then virtual env space venv, which created a virtual environment. So if that worked, then when you type ls in your project directory, it should say venv right there. And so you want to make sure in the command line that you are in your directory. So if we do cd like that, that takes us to where all of my folders are. And then I can do cd desktop. And then if I do ls, it shows me all of the folders in my desktop. And again, if people are having problems with TalkBox, just use my API key in secret, and you're fine. That should work. So then do cd Vonage unlocked. And then if you do ls, it shows you all of the folders inside of Vonage unlocked, which is your project. If you do cat readme.md, it shows you the instructions for everything that you need to run this code. So we've gone through it all. And then you do vim.env, and you type opentalk in all caps _ API, put in that API key, opentalk secret in all caps, and you put in the secret. I copied and pasted that in the chat. And then you press escape, :X to save everything. So someone said, how do I set environmental variables inside your Vonage unlocked directory? That's a good question. So that's what we just did. So .env is where that's a file. It's a hidden file. That's where you set the environmental variables. And you do it by typing opentalk _ API in all caps. So anything you set here is going to be a variable that we can, an environmental variable that we can reference in Python. And so you just want it to look like this. Okay. Thank you for bearing with me through this setup. It's probably a lot if you aren't familiar with Python. If you're not very experienced in Python, it's a lot to do. But that should be all of the setup that you need to do. You should now be able to say python3 app.py. And that hopefully will work. You will see what is on my screen. You can copy and paste http://127, and then everything that follows. It's too much to read out loud. And that is your local server. So you can go to your web browser, and it will say, please log in. If you go to /admin, type whatever name you want. My graphics are great. I know I have an eye for design. People have told me. And you do that. Hello. Now you can open a new window. And /join. And you can stream video from one window to the other, and you can chat. And you can keep opening windows. And as you can see, the name I entered was put right there. And then everyone has the correct names in the chat box. And now they're cool. So now I'm going to show you how this code works. And if anyone has any questions, please ask them. Whoa, that went crazy. Ask them, and Caroline will let me know what your questions are. She is sending me text messages. So let me know if you have any questions, and then she can relay them to me, and I will answer them. So hopefully everyone is caught up. But if not, let me know what you're stuck on so that I can help before I move on to the next section. Give you guys and gals a few more seconds to ask any questions. Yes, I will make my slides available later. Okay, so I'm assuming everyone is following along to this point. So that's awesome. Thank you all for bearing with me through that setup. And so you all are going to use Python, use idle. You all will use idle. So you can run all of the code by doing what we did in the terminal, which is Python 3 app.py. But I'm going to be using PyCharm because I'm going to code this Python code from scratch, and I want to use PyCharm's autofill feature. It's going to make it a lot easier for me. But you can follow along right here. So this is app.py, and this is where I will be doing my coding, is in this file. So you can go ahead and follow along. I'm going to start from scratch, and we're going to build this Python code together. Yes, this can accommodate 3 to 4 users. Absolutely. Okay, so again, app.py, this is where you will be running your code and using the terminal like I showed you. But I'm going to go ahead and open up PyCharm so that we can code this from scratch. And delete. Wish me luck. This is going to be hard. I don't know if I can do it. I'm going to try my best. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is import Flask. That's our Flask module. If you're not familiar with Flask, Flask is a really lightweight web framework that is awesome. I love it. I'm a huge fan. And it lets you set up a website really, really fast and with almost no setup. So it's really cool. So we are going to say app equals Flask, and then we pass in name. That is just the name of whatever module you are in. So if you type name into the Python console, it says main, and Flask just needs that so it can orient itself. And we need to do one more thing, which is set our static URL path to 2 empty quotes. I got a request to make the text bigger. So yes, I'm going to do that. Let me know if that is big enough. Okay, so static URL path tells Flask where to look for static files. So if you look in our project directory, we have this app.py folder, and then we have our requirements.txt. That's what you use to install all the dependencies. We have our README that tells you how to set everything up, and our virtual environment. But then we have 2 other directories, templates and static. And Inside of templates, we have HTML, and inside of static, we have some JavaScript and CSS, and we're going to be serving that using Flask. Generally, you serve that using Nginx, but for this demo, we are going to be serving it using Flask. Next thing we're going to do is say app.debug equals true. That puts our Flask server in debug mode so that it helps us and tells us when something is wrong. When you go into production, you don't use debug, but for now, we are going to do that. And then we can call app.run. That starts our server. And now we just need to say at app.route. That's a decorator. And inside of it, we can put the route. So the URL route for a view. So we're going to define a function. We're going to call it index. And we are going to return hello world. And so what that does is this routes our home page, if you just go to our test server, to hello world. And if I go there, it says hello world at this address. So we can also map other URLs to different views. Oh, here we are going to define /admin, and here /join. Now, if we go to /admin, it says admin, and if we go to /join, it says join. Next, we are going to import render template. And we're going to replace this with render template. And so it knows by default to look in a directory called templates for HTML files. So all we have to do is say admin.html, and it's going to serve this HTML file, which is super simple. It just says what is your name, and then it has a form that sends a post request asking for your name. Really simple. So we're going to render template admin.html, and we're going to do the same thing for name.html. And again, that's just a very similar HTML document. So now when we go to join, we see my beautiful welcome web page. And when we go to admin, my equally beautiful, what is your name, admin, when you type in your name. All right, hopefully everyone is following along. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will do my best to answer them. Next, we need to do all the magic in our index function so that it actually works. So first thing we need to do is say from decouple import config. So this is going to allow us to grab this information from this .env file. So the reason you do that is you don't want to store your OpenTalk secret and your OpenTalk API in your code because someone might see it on GitHub or it's just not secure. So essentially the idea is these are environmental variables. They're stored separately. And yeah, you grab them. So we are going to define two variables. So we're going to say open talk API and open talk secret. So now, hopefully, if I print these two things, that did printed the same thing twice. There, okay. So that code printed our OpenTalk API and our OpenTalk secret, which are stored in the variables OpenTalk API and OpenTalk secret. Perfect. Don't need this anymore. Next thing that we need to do is import client from OpenTalk. So this is the OpenTalk Python module that allows us to use Python to communicate with the Vonage video API. This is where the magic happens. So we need to create a client. So we're going to say client equals client, and we're going to pass in our OpenTalk API and our OpenTalk secret. And that is going to allow us to create a session. So in the Vonage Video API in OpenTalk, there's a concept called a session. And essentially, a session is where you can stream video to that session and then have a client consume it. So publishers publish streams to that session and subscribers consume it. So we're going to create a session, and then we need the session ID to reference that session, because every session has a session ID. Okay, as you can see right there, we created a session ID successfully. We can now use that session ID to connect to a Vonage Video API session where video is being pushed to. Inside of admin and name, we have a form, and it sends a post request to our home page. So a post request sends data, and so we will get this data that the person fills out, and that will go to our index page. But we have to let Flask know that we accept post requests. So we are going to say methods, and we pass in a list, post, and get. So that lets Flask know that we accept both post requests and get requests. So now, if we type name, that information is sent to our server, and it passes us to our index page. All right, so now we need to do a few things. If the we need to import the request Flask. So inside of index, we can now use request to access the HTTP request that's getting sent. So if the method is post, then we're going to do something. Otherwise, we're going to say, please log in. So if the request is a post request, we're going to do something. Otherwise, it's just going to say, please log in. So if we just try to access it like this, that's a GET request because your browser is just sending a GET request when you type in the URL and hit enter. Now it says, please log in. But if we do a post request, it still does that because we have not defined this. So let's define it. So if request.method equals post, then we need to create a token. So in the Vonage View API, you use a token to connect to a session. So you need a session ID and a token to connect. And we want to generate a new token every single time because every person, there's only one session ID ever for a single session. So every session has a session ID. There's one session, that's it. Everyone's going to connect to that session. So we need to tell the Vonage Video API, hey, we've got this session ID, but each person that accesses that session also needs a unique token. So that's why we're putting this inside this function. And so we're going to say token equals client dot generate token. So we're going to generate a token, and then we're going to set a variable. Oh, we need to pass in the session ID as well to create that token. Now we're going to say admin is false. That's just a variable. And if so, when this is a form and it gets sent to our index page, and this is the data in that form. So it's your name, and then there's this input that's hidden, but it says admin, and then this input collects their name, and then that's the submit button. So if request.form, if admin in request.form, obviously it's not a secure way to check if someone is actually an admin, and you would not want to do this in production. You would want to have a better, more secure method. But for now, where it's just super simple in this demo, if admin in request.form, then admin is true. And then we're going to say name equals request.form. And that is a dictionary that gets sent with all of the information, including the person's name. And so we say request.form name. And now we have the person's name and whether or not they were an admin. So essentially what's going on here is we want to know if the person is coming from /admin or /join, and then we want their name. So we're getting their name from this input box, and then whether they're an admin from a hidden input box that I put there. Now we are going to return render template, and we're going to return main view. So this is the main view that handles our index page. But that main view needs some data. If you look at that page, you can see that this is a template. So Flask serves templates that allow you to put basically pseudo Python code into your HTML. And you can see that's what's going on here. So everything with double curly brackets is data that needs to get passed in from our Python code. And then we have an if-else statement here. which is pretty cool that you can do that with Flask. Okay, so when you call render template, you can pass in variables from this function or whatever function you're working on. So we are going to say open talk API equals open talk API, name equals name, admin, it's actually is admin equals admin, token equals token, and let's see what else do we need. Session ID. Okay, so session ID comes from right here. Token comes from right here. Admin comes from right here. Name comes from right here. And OpenTalk API comes from right here. So hopefully, when we run this, it works. And you can do everything that we were doing before. Got an error. Let's see, what did I do wrong? Oh, here is the problem. This should not be OpenTalk API. That needs to be API key. So if you're following along, all of these need to match these because we're passing in this data. So let's see if that fixed it. That's not good. Okay, there we go. And I knew this was going too well. Had to have one error. Okay, well, I don't want to waste too much of your time debugging here because we don't have a ton of time left. So I am going to I got close. You gotta give me some credit. I got close to making the whole thing work, just coding it from scratch. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it all the way there. Okay, well, I'm going to stop trying to debug this. Maybe it could be too many people are using my API key right now, and that is the problem. Okay, so that is how the Python code works. And let's take a look at the HTML. So I think that's probably the problem. I think it's probably too many people using the API key all at once could be causing issues. So this is the main view. It's pretty simple. Basically, we have all that data that is getting stored in divs. And then we have a video tag, a canvas tag, and some other divs. And then this is the form to submit the chat. We have some code here that says, if is admin, then we load a script which is in static called admin video.js, which is pretty small. I'll go through that in a second. Otherwise, we load a script called viewervideo.js, and that is located in static viewervideo.js. And then at the end, we load chat.js. So in viewer video, it's really simple. This gets loaded when you go to the URL /join, and we have our session ID, which comes from the server, our API key, and our token. We initialize a session object, which is just one line of code. I need to get rid of these log statements. We don't need that. And so in this main view, we have a script that would load the Scaledrone script for the chat and the OpenTalk script. And so where was it? Oh, this is OT. That's OpenTalk. So that comes from the OpenTalk script that we loaded in main.view. So we call ot.init session that creates a session object. We pass in our API key, which comes from right here. Session ID comes from right here. That creates a session object. We can then call session.on when the stream is created. All we have to do is say session.subscribe and pass in event.stream, and then finally call session.connect, pass in our token. And this is just in the Vonage video API docs, super basic, just 101 how to connect to a session so that you can consume a stream. So that's what we're doing when we are at /join. We're consuming a stream. And then admin video.js is where we actually publish our stream and we add the video overlay. So we get a bunch of data that comes from the server, and then we reference some different elements in main view HTML. This line of code makes it so that we get the camera and the mic from the user. So we connect to their camera and mic using this code. Then we add an event listener, and we call set interval on add text. This is the add text function. And this is what, when you go to the app, this is the overlay that says Cory. So it will overlay whatever you type. So this is the code that creates that overlay. And then we pass that into a set interval. And then this is the code for OpenTalk. So again, OT, that comes from the OpenTalk script that we load. And we call init session, pass in our API key and our session ID, like we did before. But this time we create a publisher. So again, remember, a publisher can push video to a session. So we call ot.init publisher. And then we publish the publisher. And then we connect to the stream. We subscribe to the stream so that we can see what we're publishing. And with just that little bit of JavaScript and the data from app.py, which we get using the OpenTalk SDK, we are able to stream the video. And finally, we've got chat.js. I'm not going to go over how this works. This is where you paste your Scaledrone API. I have this just hard coded. You can paste yours in. And this is just, I just grabbed this straight from the Scaledrone or Scaledrone, however you call it, website. And it's just some boilerplate code to add chat. So won't go through how all this works, but it's just some code that adds the chat boxes. And that's it. That is how it all works. So let me know if you have any questions. I guess we're going to do the Q&A now, but thank you all so much for bearing with me through this presentation. I know we had some hiccups, but hopefully you learned a few things and you know now how to stream video using the Vonage video API, and you can build some pretty exciting apps using this. So let me stop sharing my screen and I will jump back on for the Q&A. Hello. How are you all doing? Did anyone actually manage to make it through? Hopefully a few people did, but if not, maybe you can rewatch the recording and try until it works. Do we have any questions? I'm going to hop to the Q&A tab.
Hi, Cory.
I'll take a little break. I'll let you talk for a while.
No. Thank you so much for being a guest and for walking through it. It wouldn't be live coding without live errors. That's always what I say. So it's perfect. We had a couple of general questions earlier about the recording. This will be recorded. Yes, it will be posted on YouTube. I'm not sure exactly when yet, but hopefully over the next couple of weeks. Then we had a question earlier on whether people will have access to your slides, Cory, and I believe you said yes. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'll definitely post them.
All right, perfect. And then I'm going to post your Twitter link real quick just for people to follow you.
Yeah, I'm posting on Twitter. So yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter, then at some point I'll tweet those out.
Perfect. And apologies again for the coupon code snafu. We're still trying to figure that out. We are unsure about what happened. However, making that account on TalkBox should have given everyone a $10 credit to begin with. So hopefully people were able to follow along. And if you're watching the recording, we're hoping you can follow along. If not, please reach out to us.